All right, let's shoot over to the 22nd. All right. Again, here's the day chart. We're still bullish for the most part, but we're using the yesterday's, the day before's previous high, close, high and low. Okay. So there's the high and low of the previous day. Here's the day we're working on. Okay. Now we're using the 5-minute chart and the 1 minute chart and the previous day high and lows. This is the trading hour session in the block. The white line at the bottom is the low of the previous day. The white line at the top is the high of the previous day. It's very interesting here, if I'm bullish, what I'm looking for. You know, I had everything done and then I didn't look at this top part. As it comes back down, it goes over the top of the previous day and then it comes back down. What kind of pattern do we have? I was starting with this breaker block here and how we had a fair value gap on the 5-minute chart and it tested it and then it shot up, created another fair value gap and tested it. So both of these were good entries to the long side, right? Before it started coming back down. That's the 5-minute chart. Let me take a look at the 1-minute chart again and show you what we had before I go to that top part and look. A breaker and a fair value gap created. Come right to the test. Boom, boom, boom. Profits. Came back down, retested it. Not sure if I would have gotten into that or not, but if I saw this fair value gap here and it tested it multiple times, I certainly would have been very interested in grabbing that. And here's another one right here. Fair value gap tested it and it just kept going up. And it just, you know, it trended up very nicely. Did it create the fair value gap breaker block at the low of the previous day? As you can see, it never went to the low of the previous day. No, but like I said before, that's where it's the most powerful. It doesn't mean it's not going to work in the middle of the day. If we are bullish on the week and on the weeks and on the days because it's heading up, then it doesn't have to get to the previous day's low, but it's always nice if it does. But I do want to take a look at the top part. You can see that the wick went up over the top of the previous day's high and then came back down. What happened right there? Did it give us a breaker or not? And let's go check it out on the 5-minute chart here real quick. All we can really see is this, you know, this up and down. We really don't see a lot of pattern until we get down to the 1-minute chart. That's why I like to use the 1-minute chart on it. What kind of pattern are we looking at here? Does it give us some kind of a breaker situation? Let's take a look at that. I'm going to draw it out right here and see if I can. Okay, there's a low, there's a high, there's a low, there's a higher high, and then a break of structure that comes down this way. And so what we'll be looking for is, are there any fair value gaps for us to get into? And am I looking at this right? Because if we're looking at just this development here, then there is no fair value gap in this leg here. If we're dragging this down here, however, we might be able to see something. Let's take a look at that real quick. Let me just redraw it and look at that, because I do want to be very fair about this. I do see a fair value gap right here is why I'm saying there's one right there that is tested and works. So the leg that comes down and breaks everything would be the leg that creates the fair value gap. So we have to do it this way. All right. And so whatever this is sweeping here, you know, be it like this, or like this, that's how it would have to look. Okay. And I tell you, they're not always pretty breaker block designs, but we're looking for the pattern where something kicks up high and comes back down and breaks structure, okay, and creates a fair value gap in the process, all right, and breaks the high of the previous day. So even if this is an ugly looking, deformed looking breaker block, it creates the fair value gap and gives us the sell signal down under the high of the previous day. And because it's in this location, and because it gives us the fair value gap, and because it does actually have the sweep of liquidity leg up and the break of structure leg down, creating the fair value gap, I think that it's worth taking a try. Stop loss is very, very small for the kind of reward that's being taken here. And even if we were going to keep shorting before we even say we're on the short bias, I didn't even notice this. Here is a fair value gap created for a continuation down, and it doesn't go very far. It probably could have been a break-even trade, but nonetheless, this is the thinking. if we're short on it, if we're bearish on it, at least for the day, that this is what we're talking about. Getting in when it comes back to test the fair value gap and keeping the tight stop loss. And here had been in 1-to-1, probably a break even when it comes back up. Let's say that we start to go bullish again because we're matching this up with other indicators or support and resistance structures on higher time charts, and we see this breaker block continue in this fair value gap, and we're still bullish on the day chart, even though it came down like that. Here's a fair value gap going long again. All right, and this is what we were talking about earlier, how it's on the 1 minute chart. We see a couple of really nice long fair value gaps tested, and they work out very nice. So there you go. There's the idea of even using them in both directions, to go short or to go long. All right, so we'll see on the next day we test. Peace.